Hey, everybody. This is Mike Belmar coming to you from the Flagler Voice podcast studio here in Palm Coast. And we're on the Road to Recovery podcast from the Flagler County Drug Court Foundation. And today I have a couple of special guests with me here in the studio. We're here thanking the sponsors of our events and fundraisers. And today we have two members of Palm Coast Ford here to help us who have been great sponsors for several years now. They've been a major sponsor of our golf tournament fundraiser now for 3 years running, we've only had it for 3 years, so they've been there from the start, and they continue to be there with us this year. So I will first bring you on to General Manager, if I'm getting it correct.
Assistant General Manager Paul Suma, if I'm pronouncing that right. Yes. And then shortly after that, we'll introduce you to Dave Williams. So, Paul, you're on. Awesome. It's thank you first of all for having us. This is something that's new to us as far as people thanking us or letting us come on the air and do a podcast or whatever it is. But it's a great organization to be a part of. When you first came through the showroom, I remember you waited, and I was like, I don't know. But to be a part of something that's we're not your typical car dealership, a lot of car dealerships try to get their name out there and just because they want the publicity. A lot of times we just wanted to get out there because we want to help people. That's our main thing. Is we're not those guys that are just like, oh, look at us. We're here to help people. And we do a lot of things in the community for veterans. We do a lot of things in the community for heroes. We're a big hero supporter. Which is the firefighters, the police, the hospitals, teachers as well. I mean, all your frontline people, and then you guys, your organization for what you guys do and who you help, and it's something great to be a part of. So thank you for having us.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying, and we really want to thank you guys for being such a major part of what happens for us. We are a small nonprofit here in the county, made up of all volunteers. So all our funding basically comes in from donations from various people in the community, and we usually run 2 fundraisers a year. The golf tournament, which is now in its 3rd, and we're now looking forward to next year. And we have a Ride for Recovery, which features motorcycles and Jeeps. And we'll speak to David here shortly about that. And we've been doing that for several years. And those are our 2 main ways of raising funds. And all our funds go to help people in recovery. I tell people that 97% of every dollar that comes in goes to help directly to a participant or somebody in recovery and or training our volunteers. So that's it. That's where the money goes. And we have so many great nonprofits in our county. It's difficult. It's difficult to raise the money. So we're working really hard on trying to develop different ways of doing it, different fundraisers that we're coming up with that for smaller amounts that can help us go through. We're looking for organizations that want to promote or do a special fundraiser for us. And we're getting a few of those coming on board, which is great. But the neat thing is, after our first time with you guys doing that, I don't feel bad walking in now because I know who you are and I know what your desires are as far as helping this community. And that makes a big difference. I'd much rather, I'll take anybody's money. I'm going to be honest with you. But I'd much rather have those that are donating to our program have the heart for the community than those who are just doing it to raise their name.
Right.
We get both, and I won't deny, you want to give me $1? You know what I tell people? You give me $1, that's 100% more than someone who gave me nothing. So that's what we're looking for. So we'll go from there and go there. I'm going to bring on David at this point and introduce you to Dave Williams.
Good morning.
Who's been a friend for, got to be 10, 12 years.
I was thinking about 10, yes.
I met David years ago when he was on the Sheriff's Department, and we were doing a Rise for Recovery. And at that point in time, it was a little easier for the Sheriff's Department to provide escorts, and Dave was part of the help that did that. And now it's become more difficult because of the amount of money it costs the departments to do that. And I understand that, but I know that the sheriff and his commitment to the road to recovery is still there. And I always speak about that in any of the podcasts because of the organizations that are in Flagler County that help people in recovery. Okay, there are several other organizations like ours, but if we look at county organizations, there's the drug court, the Flagler County Drug Court Program, which is really part of the Seventh Circuit, but the funding comes in through the county, so it's there. But the biggest supporter of people in recovery from a county organization is our sheriff's department. A lot of people don't realize that out of the jail, we have 2 independent pods for people that are in jail because of substance abuse related crime. And they get, if they can get into that program, the SMART program out there, they get treatment 5 days a week.
That's awesome.
That's absolutely incredible. So it's organizations like yours that help those things take place. And Dave, I know you've been involved with that for a long time, and he came to our rescue last year on the road to recovery because I had one motorcycle club that was going to lead the group and everything, and something came up. I don't know if it was one of their people got injured or something, and they couldn't do it. Last minute, I'm on the phone, Dave, can you find somebody to help me? And he said, I think I have. And he showed up with a friend, another person, and helped lead that group out there, and that made our day successful. So we want to thank you for that. But talk us a little bit about your change in career and coming in and finding that you wearing a Palm Coast Ford shirt, not a deputy shirt, not a chief shirt. Come on, you're not, it's got to be a big change for you.
Big change, good change. I served for 23 years honorably with the Flagler County Sheriff's Office. Prior to that, I did 11 years with NYPD. It was time for a change. I'm 56 years old. I wanted to do something different. I've been purchasing cars from Palm Coast Ford for 15 years. And one thing I noticed in going in there is that they always dealt with me respectfully. I never walked out of there feeling like I had just been had. So 6 months out from retirement, I went to Mr. York, who's the general manager at Palm Coast Ford, and said, I'm retiring in 6 months and I want to come and work with you. And he said, okay, well, come back and see us when it gets closer to the time. So a week out from retirement, I walked in with a resume and handed it to him. He gave me a start date.
Well, that's great. And I had the opportunity the other day when we were setting up this thing to sit at your desk while you were on the phone with a prospective customer. And I could not believe the amount of time that you spent, the amount of information that you provided to that customer. You weren't pushing them, but you were just getting the questions answered. You were providing what he needed to do to make a decision. And you both know that I had a little bit of experience in your neck of the woods years ago. I mean, I left the automobile industry. At the time, I was a GM at a Ford dealership. I left that in 1981. So I've been away from it for a while, and I know life has changed, and so is the auto industry. But knowing what you did and the amount of time, and if this is typical of your agency, that's what I'm concerned. That's incredible. What do you think, Paul? Is that generally the way you guys work?
So here's the thing, and like I said earlier, we're not your typical car dealership.
Right.
I don't know. Is your organization that you're representing now, are they faith-based?
Technically, no. However, because we are a nonprofit, it was formed in 2009. We're the oldest nonprofit in Flagler County dealing with helping people in recovery. And it was not faith-based at that point. So it is a non-faith. But I can tell you that the majority of our folks, it is a faith-based group.
So similar, very, very similar. I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. York for quite some time, but working with the guys that we have working with us now, that's where it's at. We have a good, young, solid crew, respectful. We only hire certain people that will fit in our culture. We're not looking for the fast talking, cigarette smoking, coffee drinking, sunglass wearing, your typical car guy thoughts. So when you pull into our dealership and you get greeted the way that you're going to get greeted, and you're taken care of the way that we train our guys to take care of our customers, our logo is Palm Coast Ford, we deliver. What do we deliver? We deliver a great product. We deliver a great experience. But most of all, we deliver for you, the customer. It's not for us. We have customers come in that have never been to our dealership, and we're right in the center of town. So everybody gets the same treatment, whether you're gonna buy, you're not gonna buy, you're gonna be there for sure. Like, everybody gets treated with courtesy. Everybody gets treated with respect. And I'm not just blowing smoke. I mean, you've seen it yourself. Obviously, Dave is a testament to that, because
Indeed.
how do you get a gentleman? And first of all, we make him wear green shirts so that when he goes places, people recognize him.
I had to tell him, because we're using a green screen here, everybody.
Correct.
That's what you're seeing. I had to tell him, no green today.
He told me that. He's like, he kept going, I can't wear green tomorrow.
Can't wait.
I see him in this. I don't even know who he is. But it's a great thing, and our partnerships with organizations such as yourself, organizations such as the Sheriff's Department. I mean, yes, Sheriff Staley and his group of heroes is just incredible. The hospitals here in town, just incredible staff, incredible people. The fire departments, incredible staff, incredible heroes. To us, those are the people that we want to help, and because they're unfortunately they're not recognized as enough. I mean, he brought pizzas to the emergency room the other day, and they were blown away. They were like, nobody ever does this for us.
That's exactly what they said.
There's a lot of places in town that don't get the recognition for whatever, and we are one of those places where we don't want recognition for this, that, and everything. We just want people to enjoy the experience when they come to Palm Coast Ford, and that's what it's all about.
Well, I can tell those who are out there listening to you, and that what you're saying is absolute truth. I challenge you, if you haven't been to Palm Coast Ford, drive up, park in that parking lot there, and moments later you'll have somebody coming up and greet you in a friendly way. And the first thing out of their mouth isn't, what car do I want to show you? That's not it. They make you feel comfortable right away, because when I come, typically I'm coming to talk to one of you two guys. So I've got to say, hey guys, it's okay. I'm only here to see either Paul or David. And they said, no problem. And they continue to walk me in to find you guys. They don't just send me inside, okay, which you would find more typical at most agencies, I believe. I don't think that part's changed as much as it should, but you guys are doing that. And I think that makes a predominant difference. And I think, David, when we first met, and I was getting to know some of the other deputies in the town and stuff like that, you've always presented that type of personality. So I think what Paul is saying, when they bring people on like you, you're working within that parameter that they're looking for. Them, you want to make people comfortable.
Correct.
I mean, I will tell you a funny story, and you guys will probably appreciate it. Again, I was in the auto industry for quite a while, and I had gone through a divorce. And a neighbor of ours who was really close.
That's how you know he's a car guy.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, I will say that the car industry was a major part of that divorce, because back then it was amount of hours and effort, particularly when you reach the management level. So we had a neighbor that wanted to introduce me to somebody that was working for her. So she tells this lady, her name is Marianne, my wife now, of 44 plus years.
God bless.
She said, I got somebody I just want you to meet. Maybe the two of you will have, because she'd been through a divorce. Maybe you'll have a good time together. There's nothing more. Just relax. And then, okay, that's it's a blind date. Okay. What does he do? Well, he's in the auto industry. What? One of them? Well, don't worry about it. No, he's a manager. She said, oh my God, that makes it even 10 times worse. But we got through that part, because she got to know, even back then, that's who I was. Okay. And strange stories, after we got married, she's sitting at my desk and she sees some papers, and there's letters from customers that I'd sold cars to, thanking me for the way I did it. And then she came across one letter from a family that I did not sell. because they came in looking for the wrong stuff that we didn't have. Okay? And I was honest about it. I said, at the time, what we have is not what you're looking for, not what you need. And you know, and now I know what, in every business I've been involved with, that most of my customers come as referrals. And if you treat them right, that's your business.
Correct.
Okay? The most effort and time and money you spend is getting that customer the first time. You do that right, they're going to bring you business, and you're not going to spend as much time working at it or spending as much money trying to get them because you've done it right. And I know you guys do the same thing. We used to do, a customer would come in, and back then, when I first started, it was with Volkswagen, and we were a fair trade item, so everybody paid the same as the sticker, no matter what. So we sold ourselves, our dealership, our service department. We let them know how we were going to take care of them going forward, and that made a big difference. And I know you do the same type of stuff today.
So it's funny you should say that, because it's a thing that we're really working on, trying to get into businesses and big industry here in Palm Coast. So we've got a thing with Advent Health right now, where we're on their property, lock boxes for Advent Health employees that can honestly get mobile service, because we have 6 mobile service vans that go out, do oil changes, recalls, tire rotations. It's a fantastic service that we offer at the dealership. And like you said, the business has changed. Now we have that. We have pickup and delivery. So the business has changed to be more customer friendly, and Palm Coast Ford, we've embraced that. So instead of having one van, we got 6 vans out on the road. We're starting to get into businesses out there in Flagler County or Volusia County, because there's so much. But taking care of a customer doesn't just, it's not see your car, see your keys, see you later. You know, we're not those guys. We're after the sale, we're in the Publix, we're in the grocery stores with you. You know, in fact, that's why we do what we do. It's called the Publix effect. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you open up the door and somebody says, hey, I'm looking for the parts department, whether they've been there once or they've been there a million times, our guys are trained to walk them there, because something may happen on the way to there, or they may have a question or whatever. It's not just, you know, mow, blow, and go. Hey, it's down there. Don't point. Like, take them to the aisle that they're looking for.
And back in the old days, and I'm sure it's still affect on some other dealerships, our guys wouldn't do some of those things, okay, because we were on what they call the up system.
Right. You don't want to miss the customer.
And you'd lose your up. Somebody else would be out there. So we started changing that way back now, at least where I work. I said, no, you're not going to lose your space. You take good care of you. We want them to come here, feel comfortable, and come back. So you won't lose any business by doing that. But most of the dealerships, okay, if it was your turn, we had the first dealership I worked for, we had little balls that we put into a slot.
We used golf balls in my first dealership.
With
absolutely.
colors, right? And the first in, you got the first out. Then you could, yeah, okay.
And if you had to use the restroom, guess what? You went to the back of the line.
Exactly. So we said, no, if I do that, I'm diminishing my sales staff desires. We're telling them, hold it until you pee in your pants. No, we don't want to do that. So we started doing that back then. There's a lot of people in the dealerships that I was involved with. And that was different. And I think it make a major change like you're doing here. You're not coming in. They're not coming into that old thinking. I'm not going into that car dealership. I got to cover, you walk around with your hand covering your wallet.
Yep.
Okay? That's, we don't want to do that. Well, we are coming to an end of this particular broadcast today and podcast. And again, I want to emphasize that the Flagler County Drug Court Foundation values your help. And we thank you very much for that help. It's been a major part of what we do, a major part of our success, what you've been able to offer to when we do our fundraisers and stuff like that. And knowing that there is a business in town, and I'm sure you're not the only business, but getting to know businesses in town that care about our local facilities, our local town. We're not a big city. Okay. And running the business like you run, you rely on more referrals. After we want to help you get more new ones, so you can get new referrals and go in there and go from there. And David, I want to again thank you for all the time that you've been part of our life here
My pleasure.
and going forward on that. And
You can't have them. You can have them part-time when you need them, but other than that, I'm not giving them back to the sheriff's department either.
okay, we'll do that. We'll allow that to be. So, Paul, thank you very much.
Thank you.
David, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And everybody, we shall see you again real soon. Have a great day.